The family man who froze his victims. The suburb that never knew. Dumont, New Jersey. A two-story house with a basketball hoop in the driveway. Inside, a man kissed his daughters goodnight, helped with homework, said grace. Then he drove to a warehouse in North Bergen and went to work. His work was murder. Over 100 bodies, maybe 200, nobody's sure, not even him. He used cyanide, crossbows, ice picks, rope, hands. He fed a man to rats in a cave and filmed it for the buyer. His wife thought he sold currency. His neighbors thought he was a gentle giant. His priest thought he was devout. They were wrong. All of them. Wrong for 30 years. He froze the bodies, so the cops couldn't tell when they died. That's how he got the name, the Iceman. And tonight, we thaw him out. Act 1. The Stain. The bodies that wouldn't decompose on schedule. May 1983. A jogger in Rockland County spots something off the parkway. A garbage bag, industrial grade, heavy. Inside, Louis Masgay, Pennsylvania businessman, missing since July of '81. 2 years gone, but the body looked fresh. Too fresh. The skin still pale, the tissue still firm. The medical examiner cut him open and found ice crystals in the heart. Ice crystals in a man dead for 2 years. Somebody had kept him in a freezer, like a Sunday roast, then dumped him when they got tired of the storage bill. The cops had a problem. Time of death, meaningless. Alibis, useless. Every suspect in the world had an alibi for sometime in the last 24 months. Then more bodies surfaced. Gary Smith, strangled in a motel. Cyanide in his burger. Paul Hoffman, vanished in '82, never found. His car wiped clean. George Maliband, shot 4 times, stuffed in an oil drum. The drum had been welded shut, then unwelded, then dumped. Every victim, a low-level hustler, a small-time crook, men who owed money, men who talked too much. And every trail led back to the same neighborhood, North Bergen, the warehouses along the Hudson, the piers where nothing official happened, but everything happened. The detectives started building a list, names that kept coming up in whispers, names nobody wanted to say out loud. One name kept rising to the top, a name attached to a 6'5" mountain of a man with dead eyes and a gentle handshake. Richard-Kuklinski. Currency dealer, family man, coach of his daughter's softball team, and, according to the underworld, the most prolific contract killer on the eastern seaboard. The cops had a name. They had bodies. They had a freezer theory. What they didn't have was a single shred of evidence. Not one print. Not one witness who'd lived long enough to testify. Because the Iceman didn't leave loose ends. He boiled them, buried them, or fed them to the rats. Act 2. The Shadows. 6 years undercover with a man who killed for fun. The Attorney General's office had a file 2 inches thick on Kuklinski, and exactly 0 charges they could prove. Every informant who agreed to wear a wire backed out, or vanished, or turned up in a trunk. Funny how that works. So they tried something different. Operation Iceman. They'd send in their own man, an undercover ATF agent named Dominic Polifrone. Polifrone played a New York wise guy. Bad suit, worse haircut, a pocket full of cash, and a story about needing some problems solved. He met Kuklinski at a diner in 1986. and the Iceman sized him up across a plate of eggs. One wrong word, one wrong gesture, and Polifrone goes home in pieces. Months passed. The two men met, drank coffee, talked about murder like other men talk about baseball. Kuklinski bragged. He liked to brag. About the cyanide spray he'd built. A little nasal mister. Walk past a man on a crowded street, give him a sniff, dead in 90 seconds. He told Polifrone he wanted to test it on a homeless man, just to see, just for fun. The undercover agent realized he wasn't investigating a hitman. He was babysitting a serial killer who happened to take contracts. Polifrone kept stalling, kept smiling, kept the tape rolling. Every meeting he wondered if today was the day Kuklinski smelled the cop on him, the day the cyanide came out. The agent lost 20 pounds, couldn't sleep. His wife thought he was having an affair. He couldn't tell her the truth, that he was eating breakfast with a man who collected human lives like baseball cards. 6 months of this. 6 months of pretending to plan a murder that would never happen. The bait, a fake target, a fictional businessman who needed killing. Kuklinski offered to do it 3 ways. Pick your flavor. Cyanide in coffee, bullet to the head, or the special. The special was a slow death. Tied up, watched, filmed. December 17th, 1986. Kuklinski drove to meet Polifrone with a sandwich. The sandwich was laced with cyanide. A test run, a demonstration. The cops moved in before he could deliver it. They surrounded the car on Route 3, guns drawn. 6 years of work about to either pay off or end in a bloodbath. And the Iceman just smiled. Act 3. The Deviant. The boy who tortured animals grew into a man who tortured everything. To understand Richard Kuklinski, you have to go back to Jersey City, 1940s, a railroad flat, a father who beat his sons with broom handles. His older brother Florian died from one of those beatings. The family told the neighbors he fell down the stairs. Richard was 5 years old. He learned 2 things that week: that fathers kill sons, and that nobody asks questions if you tell the right lie. By age 10, he was killing cats, tying them by their tails, lighting them on fire. By 13, he killed his first human, a neighborhood bully named Charlie Lane. Beat him with a closet rod until the boy stopped moving. Dumped the body off a bridge. Nobody connected it to Richard. Nobody ever did. He grew, 6'5", 270 pounds, hands like cinder blocks, and a brain that had learned very early that other people were just objects, furniture you could rearrange. He took jobs, bootleg porn, then enforcement, then murder for hire. The De Cavalcante family used him. The Gambinos used him. Roy DeMeo, the butcher of Brooklyn, taught him about the freezer trick. But here's the thing. Here's what made him different. Most contract killers, they do the job, they go home, they feel something. Guilt, adrenaline, anything. Kuklinski felt nothing. He told a prison psychiatrist years later that killing was like taking out the trash, a chore. Sometimes satisfying, mostly just necessary. He killed strangers for practice. He told interviewers about it later. Drive into the city, pick a man at random, follow him home, murder him in his doorway, drive back to Dumont, help his daughter with her geometry homework. The Reddit posts didn't exist yet. The browser history hadn't been invented, but his garage had been. And in his garage, neighbors later remembered, was a chest freezer. a big one, industrial. His wife Barbara asked once what was in it. He told her venison from hunting trips. She never opened it. She lived with that freezer for 15 years. And every time her husband came home late, smelling of bleach, kissing her forehead, she told herself she was lucky. Lucky to have a good man. The good man kept ledgers in his head, names, dates, body counts. And the freezer kept humming. Act 4. The Trap. The arrest that took 6 years and 1 cyanide sandwich. December 17, 1986, Route 3. New Jersey state troopers swarm the Cadillac. Kuklinski steps out slowly, hands visible. Doesn't resist, doesn't speak. In the trunk, the cyanide sandwich, wrapped in deli paper. A McDonald's bag for cover. In Polifrone's wire transcripts, hours of confession, murder plots, body disposal techniques, pricing structures for human life. They had him. After 30 years, after more than 100 bodies, they finally, actually had him. The trial began in 1988. Kuklinski wore a suit, sat quietly, watched the prosecution play tape after tape of his own voice describing murders. His wife Barbara sat in the courtroom and heard for the first time what her husband actually did for a living. She'd thought he was a businessman. She'd thought his temper was just a temper. She heard him on tape pricing a hit at $40,000. She heard him laugh about feeding a man to rats. She left the courtroom and never came back. The jury convicted him on 5 counts of murder. 5 out of the 100+ he later admitted to. Life without parole, 2 consecutive life sentences, Trenton State Prison. And then, locked away, Kuklinski did something nobody expected. He started talking to journalists, to psychiatrists, to HBO documentary crews. He smiled into the cameras. He bragged about his kills. He invented some, exaggerated others. Nobody could tell which. He claimed he murdered Jimmy Hoffa. He claimed he killed Peter Calabro, a corrupt detective. He claimed dozens, hundreds of jobs nobody could verify. The investigators went back through cold cases. Some matched, some didn't. The truth and the lies braided together until the body count became its own kind of mystery. What was certain was that the suburbs had housed a monster, and the monster had raised 2 daughters, and the daughters had loved him. One of them said it on camera years later, with tears in her eyes. He was a good father, the best father. Mask off. But the mask had fit so well for so long that pieces of it stayed stuck to her face forever. Act 5. The Void. What the freezer preserved, what it couldn't. Richard Kuklinski died in prison, March 5, 2006. Heart failure, natural causes. The state called it that anyway. Some say the Gambinos got to him. He was set to testify against Sammy Gravano. Then suddenly, a mystery illness. Then dead. He took his secrets with him. The full list of victims, the buyers, the clients, the cops on his payroll. Barbara Kuklinski tried to disappear, changed her name, moved away, refused interviews for years. When she finally spoke, she said the marriage had been a prison, that he beat her, threatened the kids, promised, calmly over breakfast, to murder her parents if she ever left. She stayed for 30 years, in a house with a freezer full of corpses, cooking pot roast on Sundays. The neighbors in Dumont were asked later if they'd noticed anything at all. They said no. He was quiet, polite, always paid his lawn guy on time. The families of the victims, the small-time hustlers, the unlucky borrowers, the strangers picked at random, most of them never got bodies back, never got funerals, never got names on the trial docket. Their loved ones became statistics in a confession nobody could fully verify. The Iceman froze them to hide the time of death, but what he really froze was the truth, forever. The bodies thawed, the truth never did. Epilogue. A monster raised in a house, a monster who built a house, a monster who filled the freezer. He kissed his daughters goodnight. He coached softball. He took out the trash. And in the trash were pieces of men whose names we'll never know. Richard-Kuklinski was not a movie villain. He was a husband, a father, a neighbor. He was the man who held the door for you at the diner, the man who waved from his driveway. And that's the part that should keep you up tonight. Not the cyanide, not the rats, not the freezer. The part that should keep you up is how easily he fit in, how long he lasted, how nobody, not his wife, not his priest, not his children, ever knew. Evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it just wears a cardigan and mows the lawn on Saturdays. Sleep